Jinwoo, stop. Please. I need a break. We've been at this for hours. I want to satisfy you, but I can't. Please. The lamp cast amber shadows across the bedroom. Silk sheets twisted beneath bodies, moving with desperate intensity. Jinwoo couldn't be satisfied, not by anyone. The actress beneath him, Sumi, Korea's reigning beauty queen, dug her nails into his shoulders, gasping for breath. She was exhausted, voice trembling. I want to satisfy you. You know I care about you. But I just can't keep up. Nobody can. Jinwoo went still, expression blank, eyes showing nothing. Another disappointment. Another woman unable to match the hunger that consumed him. He stood from the bed without shame, reaching for his clothes. Sumi pulled the sheets around herself, humiliated. Jinwoo, don't be upset, she whispered. I'm not upset, he replied coldly. I'm just done. His phone buzzed. He answered with the same ice in his voice. Talk. A rough voice came through the speaker. Boss, we've got Marcus Lane cornered. He won't give up the codes. Jinwoo's jaw clenched. He didn't move. Then handle it my way. Yes, boss. We're moving now. Jinwoo ended the call. Sumi sat up, worry in her eyes. Where are you going? He didn't even glance back. To deal with something your beauty can't distract me from. He walked out without another word. Tonight, Korea's most feared crime boss was finished being gentle, and Marcus Lane had picked the absolute worst night to disappear. Jinwoo arrived at Marcus Lane's estate like thunder rolling in. Dark jacket flowing behind him, teeth clenched, fury burning in his eyes. His crew fanned out immediately. Check every room. Tear this place apart if you need to. The house was too quiet. Dust hung in the air. Coffee sat warm on the counter. A chair pushed back like someone just stood up fast. Room after room, hallway after hallway, nothing. No bodyguards, no luggage, no trace of life, just their footsteps echoing. One of Jinwoo's men came back looking tense and pale. Boss, he's vanished. Jinwoo's eyes went narrow. Vanished. Marcus Lane, his rival. The man who betrayed him. The man who swore he'd never run. The air got heavy. Then another guard rushed down the stairs, out of breath. Boss, you need to see something. Jinwoo turned sharply, eyes like ice. What did they discover? Jinwoo followed his men down a quiet hallway. A hallway that looked untouched, almost too clean compared to the chaos of the rest of the house. The guard pointed at a door. We found a girl. Jinwoo's face didn't change. He pushed the door open and silence fell. A small lamp glowed softly. Curtains moved with the night air. And on the bed, wrapped in blankets like she had no clue the world was burning around her, Sophia Lane, his enemy's only daughter, sound asleep. She looked nothing like the ruthless man he was hunting. Her breathing was gentle. Her hair messy from sleep. She had earbuds in, music playing quietly, completely clueless, completely exposed. Jinwoo stepped closer, slow and deliberate. He studied her face, the innocence, the gentleness, the calm he'd never known himself. His men whispered behind him. Boss, what should we do? Jinwoo didn't answer right away. He just stood there watching the daughter of the man who screwed him over, the perfect leverage. Then his voice dropped low and cold. She'll bring him back. He turned to his crew. Take her. Sophia woke up choking on air. Not in her room, not in her house, not anywhere she recognized. Marble floors, tall windows, heavy curtains, a massive light fixture hanging overhead like danger. Her hands weren't tied, but the door was locked. She stumbled to it and beat it with her fists. Hello. Where am I? Let me out. No response. Fear rose in her chest. She grabbed a vase and threw it at the door. She kicked, yelled, fought like a cornered animal. Then the lock clicked. The door opened. Jinwoo stood there calm. Too calm. A man who looked like he'd seen every kind of terror except hers. Sophia's voice shook with anger. Who are you? Why am I here? Where's my dad? Jinwoo walked into the room, slow, commanding, filling the space like a shadow eating the light. His response was flat, emotionless. You'll go home when your father gives me the codes. Sophia froze. Codes? What codes? I don't know anything. He looked at her, unreadable. Then hope he does, because until he comes back, you're staying here. Her heart sank. She understood now. She wasn't a guest. She wasn't visiting. She was the mafia boss's bargaining tool. His captive. His leverage. And he had no plans to release her anytime soon. Days went by, then a week, then two. Sophia stopped yelling, stopped fighting the guards, stopped asking Jinwoo when she could leave. Not because she'd calmed down, but because fear had slowly morphed into something darker. Silence. She sat by the window every evening, waiting for footsteps, for updates, for her father, any hint that he was coming for her, but nothing arrived. Not a phone call, not a text, not a warning, not even a demand to let her go. Jin-woo watched her transform, her spark fading, her hope dying. Then one morning, a guard knocked on Jin-woo's office door. "Boss, we received a message." Jin-woo barely looked up. From her father. The guard hesitated. "Yes." Sophia was brought into the office, wrists shaking, eyes red but hopeful. The kind of hope that's painful to witness. "Did he contact you? Is he on his way? Did he send anything?" The guard handed Jin-woo a tablet. A single message filled the screen. Brief, harsh, final. Jin-woo read it, jaw tightening. Sophia stepped closer, voice weak. "What? What did he write?" Jin-woo didn't soften it. He turned the screen to face her. The message hit like a physical blow. "I don't want her. Do what you want." Sophia's breath stopped. Her hands grabbed the table edge. Her knees nearly gave out. She shook her head slowly, as if denying reality would change it. No, that's not him. My dad wouldn't. He wouldn't." But the truth destroyed her. She covered her mouth and crumbled. Not loud, not dramatic, but the silent, defeated crying of someone who just realized they had nowhere to return to. Her father hadn't just abandoned her. He'd traded her life for his own survival. And Jin-woo watched her break down, expressionless, unexpectedly moved. Because this girl, this enemy's daughter, had just become something he never anticipated. Sophia refused to be the silent type of prisoner. Even after seeing the message with her father's name, even after understanding the man who raised her genuinely didn't care, even after crying herself unconscious every night for a week, she still wouldn't submit. Her first escape try was through the kitchen window. Her second was through the garage. Her third, she actually swiped a guard's access card and ran for the gates like her survival depended on it. His men caught her every time, kicking and yelling. And still, she never stopped cursing Jin-woo out. "Go ahead and shoot me," she'd say. "I won't play nice just because you're used to women worshipping you." Nobody talked to Jin-woo like that. Nobody had the nerve. One night, after dragging her back from another failed escape, Jin-woo slammed his hand against the wall next to her head. His eyes burned into hers, cold, deadly, unmoving. "Try that one more time," he said quietly, "and I'll put a round through your head myself." Sophia didn't even blink. She didn't move. She just stared him straight in the face and whispered, "Then do it." The guards went still. Even Jin-woo went still, because she wasn't faking. She wasn't scared. She wasn't broken. She was alive, fierce, brave, and impossibly stubborn. And for the first time, Jin-woo felt something he had no business feeling. Respect, curiosity, and a dangerous pull of attraction. It happened one quiet evening. Sophia was returning from the garden with 2 guards trailing her, annoyed and frustrated. She hated being caged, hated being followed everywhere. When Jin-woo emerged from the shadows, tense and needing a woman, on his way to meet one of his model companions in the lounge, then he saw her walking gracefully, her long legs, stunning in a short skirt. He closed his eyes, not wanting to be drawn to his enemy's daughter in any way, but his feet moved toward her. His eyes locked on her, blocking her path. He didn't speak. He just stood there, tall and mysterious, watching her like she was a riddle he wasn't supposed to solve. She tried to walk past him. He shifted slightly, stopping her again. Their bodies were close, too close. Her breath touched his neck. His warmth reached her skin. For a moment, neither moved. Jin-woo's eyes drifted slowly, uncontrollably to her lips. He didn't plan it. He didn't think it through. He simply leaned in, a man who'd never been turned down by any woman. Sophia turned her face away, quick and bold. His lips brushed empty air, not her mouth. She stared at him from the corner of her eye and said with a cold little laugh, "Mr. Jin-woo, I'm not like the other girls you mess with. Don't ever attempt that again." Silence, thick, electric, humiliating. Jin-woo stepped back slowly, as if someone had struck him across the pride he protected so fiercely. No woman had ever rejected him. Not until Sophia Lane, the girl he kidnapped, the girl he should despise, the girl who should fear him, turned her back and walked away. And that night, for the first time in forever, Jin-woo felt something unfamiliar twisting in his chest. Not rage. Desire. Attraction. A week later, since her escape attempts failed miserably, Sophia decided to irritate him so much that he'd release her. But would he set her free? The mansion had survived drug dealers, assassins, and international police operations, but it had never survived someone like Sophia Lane. From the moment she decided not to fear Jinwoo anymore, the whole house shifted. Jinwoo sat at the dining table reviewing documents when Sophia walked in wearing the oversized shirt he'd given her on her first night. His shirt. She didn't seem to notice the effect. Or maybe she did. She sat right next to him, way too close for a prisoner, and took a bite of his food. Not hers. His. Jinwoo's hand stopped mid-motion. Did someone give you permission? Yes, she said casually. He frowned. Who? She tapped her own chest. Me. The guard stared. Silence dropped. Jinwoo's jaw worked for a moment. Then he turned away, pretending he wasn't affected, but his ears had turned red. Later that day, Sophia walked down the hallway carrying a basket of folded laundry. Jinwoo was walking in the opposite direction. She accidentally brushed against him. Not once, not twice, but fully pressed her body against his, like she didn't see him coming. Jinwoo froze. Sophia kept walking, but her voice floated back with a teasing tone. Oops. Didn't notice you there, boss. Jinwoo felt something tighten inside him. Irritation, tension, want. Something he'd never felt for any woman. He exhaled sharply. Watch yourself, he warned, more to himself than to her. Jinwoo was on a business call inside his home office when Sophia barged in without knocking. She didn't care if he was the mafia boss. She didn't care if he was busy with million-dollar deals. She flopped onto the couch, stretched her legs, and mouthed, I'm bored. Jinwoo tried to focus on the call, but then she did it. She picked up a pen from his desk and started spinning it with her lips. Not sucking, not licking, just lightly biting the cap. His hand tightened around his phone. His voice cracked. His business associate on the line asked, Boss, are you all right? Jinwoo cleared his throat, looked away from Sophia's lips, and forced out, I'm fine. He absolutely wasn't. That night, Jinwoo passed by the living room and found Sophia sitting on the couch, flipping through TV channels. She didn't look up when she said, for someone who kidnapped me, you're not entertaining at all. He looked at her sharply. Entertaining? You're supposed to be in a locked cell where you'd barely be fed. That's entertaining. You wouldn't do that to me, she said, eyes drifting to him. He stood there, arms crossed. I can do anything, Sophia, so you better not push boundaries. You'd never show me the fun side of you. She shrugged. Maybe that's why no woman can satisfy you. Silence. Her words cut through him. How did she know that? Did his men gossip about his desires not being fulfilled? She looked up and smirked at his expression. That was it. Jinwoo stepped closer. Sophia didn't flinch. You talk too much, he muttered. And you think too much, she replied. He stared at her for a long moment, long enough for her playful smile to slowly fade into something else, something warm, something dangerous. Jinwoo finally tore his gaze away and walked off. But Sophia grinned. She knew it now. She could get under his skin. She could crack the demon boss. She could make him feel. And Jinwoo, he hated it. He needed her to stop. Sophia stormed into the kitchen, arms crossed, feet stomping. Boss, I'm finished. I can't wear these guy clothes anymore. I need something proper. Something that doesn't make me look like a servant. Jinwoo didn't even glance up from his paperwork. You're a prisoner, he said flatly. And you should be thankful you have this much freedom. Clothes aren't a request. They're unnecessary. Sophia huffed. Unnecessary. I live here too. I'm not your possession. He finally looked at her. Cool, unreadable. You're not leaving, he said, his tone final. She didn't back down. Then at least let me look human. Let me pick my own clothes. He studied her. Sassy, fearless, impossible. And for a fraction of a second, something in him wavered. Fine, he said finally. 1 hour. That's it. Then you come straight back. The boutique was elegant, lit with soft golden lights. Expensive fabrics sparkled under the spotlights. Sophia's eyes widened. She couldn't hide it. Even the air smelled richer than the mansion. She spun slowly, brushing her fingers over dresses, coats, and skirts. Jinwoo pretended not to watch, pretended to check his phone, pretended to be bored. But every now and then, his gaze flicked to her, watching how an emerald silk dress hugged her curves, how a tailored jacket framed her shoulders, how her hair tumbled perfectly down her back. He hated it, and he couldn't look away. Sophia disappeared into a changing room, doors closed. Minutes later, she stepped out in a sleek black dress, her hair tied back casually, eyes bright and playful. Jinwoo's chest tightened, even though he told himself he didn't care. She twirled. Well, do I pass or am I still a prisoner? His jaw tightened. Pass, he said shortly. She grinned. Short answer. Classic. I like it. She tried on another outfit, a red cocktail dress this time. She walked toward him, hips swaying, pretending not to notice the way his dark eyes followed her. You're too good at this, he muttered. Too good at what? She teased, tilting her head innocently. He looked away. Nothing. Every time she spun, every time she smiled, every time she leaned just slightly toward him, something shifted inside him. Her laughter echoed softly in the boutique. Light, playful teasing. He hated that it made him want to protect her. Want her? Try the blue one, he said finally, voice low. Sophia smirked, disappearing into the changing room again. He leaned against the counter, pretending to be patient. But when she stepped out in the royal blue dress, he didn't even try to hide it. Her beauty was undeniable, her confidence intoxicating, and the fact that she had no clue how much effect she had on him made it worse. He clenched his fists at his sides. He shouldn't feel anything. She was a prisoner. Jinwoo needed a female representative to attend a conference. Sumi was usually the one who accompanied him, but not this time. His captive would come with him. The ballroom glittered with wealth. Chandeliers reflected gold across the polished marble floor. Business tycoons, mafia associates, and power players from all over Asia mingled. Glasses in hand, sharp suits, sharper eyes. Jinwoo moved through them like a shadow, calm, collected, dangerous, the king of the night, untouchable, until Sophia Lane appeared at his side. She didn't wear a mask of fear. She didn't cower. She wore confidence, a subtle smirk, and a dress that hugged her in all the right places. Within minutes, men circled. Compliments whispered. Glances lingered. And Sophia, she played with it. Is that your drink, or can I taste it? She asked a tall businessman, laughing. She brushed his arm ever so slightly when she took it. The man's jaw dropped, but she didn't care. Jinwoo's fingers tightened around the lapel of his suit. Her laughter sounded different to him tonight. Playful, teasing, alive, and meant to torment him. Every man she flirted with, every laugh she gave, every brush of her hand, it burned him. And then the final straw. A wealthy executive whispered something in her ear. She leaned in just slightly, pretending to listen, and gave him a little wink. Jinwoo's control snapped. He didn't think. He didn't hesitate. He reached for her wrist, gripping it firmly, and whispered through clenched teeth. We're leaving. Sophia's eyes widened. Excuse me? We're leaving now. The crowd parted like the sea around them. Gasps followed them. Whispers followed them. But Jinwoo didn't care. As they drove back to the mansion, silence filled the car. Sophia asking why he looked so grim. He didn't answer. The mansion was silent that night. Rain tapped softly against the windows, a steady rhythm that matched the ache in Sophia's chest. She sat alone in the lounge for hours before anyone noticed, staring at the rain like it could somehow wash away her pain. Her thoughts were a storm. Memories of home. Her father's rejection. Her brother's absence. The message that had shattered her world. I don't want her. Do what you want. She'd cried herself unconscious only to wake to the same emptiness. The mansion, the guards, the food, it all felt hollow. She was trapped, heartbroken, and utterly alone. To numb the ache, she poured herself a drink, then another, and soon the bottle was half empty, her sorrow dissolving into soft laughter and slurred words. When Jinwoo returned from a late operation, he found her curled up on the couch, flushed cheeks, eyes glossy with both sadness and intoxication. Who gave you this? He demanded, voice low and sharp. She giggled, almost childlike. I did, she slurred. Why is it a crime to have fun? He didn't answer. Instead, he watched. Watched as she swayed slightly, soft and vulnerable, yet playful. Watched as her hair fell over her face, lips parting in a small, wistful smile he'd never seen before. Then she moved toward him, half stumbling, half intentional. Jinwoo, she murmured, voice barely above the rain. You're always so serious. Don't you ever relax? Before he could react, she climbed onto the couch beside him, curling against his side. He froze, heart hammering, breath catching. Her lips brushed his cheek lightly, then again, twice. She pressed closer, finally resting her head against his chest. Her hands trailed up his arm, then fell softly across his torso. She whispered something soft and unintelligible, then sighed, closing her eyes. Jinwoo didn't stop her. He sat frozen, feeling the warmth of her body against him, feeling her small, drunken sighs, feeling something deeper than desire, something dangerous. Tenderness, connection, a pull he hadn't felt before. She was soft, affectionate, innocent in her drunken state, and utterly irresistible. For the first time, Jinwoo realized it wasn't just attraction. It wasn't just obsession. It was something more, something that could destroy him if he let it. And as Sophia slept lightly against him, her fingers brushing his hand unconsciously, Jinwoo finally allowed himself to admit the truth. What the hell? He was falling for her. The rain fell harder outside, and inside, silence enveloped them both. But inside Jinwoo, a storm had begun, one he didn't want to calm. The mansion was silent, too silent. Jinwoo and Sophia were enjoying a rare evening together. Dinner in the private lounge, the tension between them simmering, but unspoken. Then a loud crash shattered the calm. Intruders. Jinwoo's hand went to his gun instantly. Sophia jumped to her feet, eyes wide. But something else lit inside her. Defiance. Two black-masked men burst through the doors. Guns drawn. Jinwoo aimed. Steady voice calm but lethal. Step back. Don't move. The men removed their masks. Sophia froze. Her twin brothers. The ones who abandoned her for so long. Cruel months. She gasped, rushing toward them. You came for me. You finally came to get me. Stay back, Jinwoo barked, aiming his gun. Let her go, you bastard, one of the brothers yelled. She's ours. Sophia's eyes darted between Jinwoo and her brothers. Her heart pounded with hope. Her chest ached with relief and confusion. Jinwoo stepped in front of her. No, she stays with me until I get what I want from your father. Her brother sneered. And what if we don't care about your codes? She belongs to her family. Sophia's stomach twisted. She stared at Jinwoo, then at her brothers. You left me. You abandoned me for 2 months. And now you expect me to just go with you? She shouted. Her voice shook with anger and betrayal. Her tears fell freely. You left me alone. Did you even care? We'll explain when we leave here. Jinwoo's men and her brother's men clashed in a violent, chaotic fight. Bullets tore through walls. Fists slammed bodies to the floor. Sophia tried to move toward her brothers, desperate to believe they'd come to save her, but Jinwoo held her tightly. Don't move, he growled. Until your father releases my verification codes for my next operation and property. One brother lunged forward. Jinwoo fired a warning shot. The chaos resumed. The mansion became a battlefield. Furniture shattered. Glass exploded. Bullets ripped through walls. Jinwoo's men fought fiercely. But the brothers were skilled. Insults flew between them and Jinwoo. You think a man like you owns her? She's not yours. The brothers hesitated. Jinwoo seized the moment, moving faster, striking with precision. By the end of the night, the mansion was in ruins. The brothers were injured but alive, fleeing with threats. We'll be back for her, and you'll regret this. Sophia stood amidst the wreckage, chest heaving, tears mixing with rage. Please take me. Don't leave me here again, she cries. Jinwoo's hand found hers, his grip firm, protective, but she pushed him away, giving him a deadly look. The mansion was silent after the chaos of the brothers' attack. Sophia sat on the couch, exhausted, tear-streaked, and confused. She couldn't understand her family anymore. Why had they left her alone? Why had they risked her life? Jinwoo entered the room, holding a folder in his hands. Sophia looked up at him, wary. I found something, he said quietly, voice low, controlled, but with a sharp edge that made her heart skip. What is it? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He opened the folder, revealing documents, photographs, and messages. Her eyes widened as she read. Her brothers, her father, they'd planned to marry her off to an 80-year-old mafia lord. That's why they came for you. A deal to secure power, alliances, and money. Her life traded like a commodity. Sophia's hands trembled. She dropped the folder. She sank to the floor, shaking. Her chest hurt. Her tears came faster than ever. They were going to sell me, she whispered, voice breaking. They didn't care about me at all. Why would they do this to their own family? They could come any time to take me. I don't feel safe. I won't allow it. Jinwoo cuts her off. Marry me. Then he raised an eyebrow, cold, unreadable. Excuse me? Marry me, she repeated, eyes blazing. Protect me. Keep me safe. Keep me away from them. From my family, from the people who tried to sell me like I was nothing, from the man who abandoned me. Jinwoo studied her. He felt the weight of her trust and her defiance pressing against his chest. And what do I get in return? He asked, voice low, dangerous, a hint of amusement hidden in the edge. Sophia stepped closer. Me, she said simply. All of me. That sounded too alluring to him. Her lips curled into a teasing smirk, but her eyes were deadly serious. He exhaled slowly, hand resting on the folder he'd just shown her. Proof of her family's betrayal. Fine, he said finally. Then we do this. A contract was drawn. Terms were agreed. Signatures pressed to paper. And in that instant, the power dynamic shifted. Sophia was no longer a prisoner. She was his wife on paper, his possession in reality. But more than that, she was the first person to make Jin-woo truly accountable to someone other than himself. When he slid the diamond ring onto her finger, her smile was triumphant, playful, and victorious. Not because she'd tricked him, but because she'd claimed her own fate. For the first time, they were no longer just captor and captive. They were partners in a dangerous, twisted world, bound by a contract, by circumstance, and by something neither of them fully understood yet. The mansion was quiet, but inside Sophia's chest, her heart was pounding like a war drum. She stared at her ceiling, unable to sleep. She was ovulating. She tried to maintain control, and all she could think of was her new husband and kidnapper inside her. She was restless, feverish, craving something she couldn't explain, something she couldn't deny, something dangerous. Her eyes found him across the room. Jin-woo, shirtless, standing in his usual calm, composed way, unaware that the tension in the air was almost unbearable. Damn. Sophia swallowed hard. Her breaths were shallow. She moved toward him, every step deliberate, every glance teasing. Jin-woo, she murmured, voice soft but loaded with intention. He looked up immediately, sensing the difference. Her body language, her gaze, her scent. Something primal hit him. A fire he'd never felt before. Before he could react, she walked to him, her hands caressing his bare chest, her body pressing against him with a boldness that shocked him. I can't fight this anymore, she whispered, lips brushing his neck. Not tonight. Jin-woo's hand went to her waist instinctively, holding her closer. His heart pounded, but his mind, usually icy and controlled, was slipping. Are you sure about this? He asked, already feeling aroused. He could feel his hardness against the soft silk nightgown. And then she replied with a kiss, long, insistent, demanding. It was no longer just desire. It was a pull neither of them could resist. Her hands tangled in his hair. His lips moved over hers, slow, deliberate, claiming, but with restraint, not wanting to frighten her. He lifted her into his arms, his hands filling her. They tumbled toward the bed, bodies pressed together, their clothes scattered on the floor. Then he made love to her like never before, and she enjoyed every bit of it like an innocent, naughty wife. Jin-woo finally surrendered to the moment. For the first time, he truly felt complete. Not just satisfied physically, but emotionally. Every touch, every sigh, every whispered name created a bond stronger than any contract. Sophia rested against him afterward, soft, exhausted, content, but triumphant. She'd made him see her differently, not as a captive, not as a bargaining chip, but as his equal, his partner, his woman. And Jin-woo, holding her close, whispered softly, "No one will ever touch you. Not now. Not ever." She smiled against his chest, finally feeling safe, finally feeling wanted. The storm outside could rage all it wanted. Inside, they were invincible, together and utterly consumed by desire and trust. The night was pitch black outside Jin-woo's mansion, but inside, the air was tense, heavy with anticipation. Sophia was in the lounge, sitting quietly beside Jin-woo. The peace they'd finally found after so much chaos shattered in an instant. A deafening crash echoed through the gates. Armed men poured in, breaking doors, smashing windows. At the front, leading the charge, Marcus Lane, her father, flanked by her brothers and a hired army of mercenaries. Sophia froze, her heart pounding. But Jin-woo's hand went to his gun, steady, calm, deadly. "Stay behind me," he ordered, eyes scanning, calculating, ready to fight. The mansion erupted into chaos. Gunfire shattered chandeliers. Glass rained like crystal bullets around them. Screams echoed. Her father and brothers stormed through, shouting orders, insults, and threats. Sophia rose, stepping forward, voice strong, heart pounding. "No, I'm not going with you. I'm staying with him." The words hit her father and brothers like a thunderclap. She'd chosen her husband, her captor turned protector, over her own blood. Jin-woo's eyes met hers. He gave her a slight nod, protective, proud. He would fight. He would survive. He would protect her no matter what. The mansion was a battlefield. Bullets tore through walls. Fists collided with metal and bone. Her brothers moved with precision, trying to reach Sophia. Marcus Lane, desperate, aimed his gun recklessly. Jin-woo's men returned fire. Chaos consumed the room. One brother shot Jin-woo. The bullet tore through his shoulder. Pain exploded, but he didn't falter. He pressed forward. The second brother raised his gun at Sophia. Time slowed. Without thinking, Jin-woo threw himself in front of her. The bullet hit him square in the chest. He collapsed to the floor, blood spreading fast. Sophia screamed, rushing to his side, tears streaming down her face. Her father fell moments later, one of Jin-woo's men firing back with precision. Marcus Lane was dead. Her brothers froze, enraged. Jin-woo lay on the floor, unconscious, blood pooling beneath him. But his hand remained stretched toward her, as if to protect her even in death. Sophia's sobs filled the mansion. The hired army scattered. The night was silent again, except for her screams and the rain beating against the shattered windows. She pressed her hand to his chest, feeling the slow, steady beat of life beneath her fingers. He'd taken 2 bullets for her. He'd risked everything, his life, his soul, for her. And in that moment, she realized she would never leave him. He was hers, and she was his. The hospital room was cold and sterile, but Sophia's heart felt like it was on fire. She sat beside Jin-woo's bed, tears streaming down her face, hands clutching his. His chest was bandaged, his body bruised, and yet he was alive. "Please God," she whispered, voice cracking. "Please don't take him. Don't let him die. Not him, not my husband, not the only person who's ever protected me, loved me, truly cared." Her sobs shook her body, but she refused to leave his side. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time didn't exist in that room of fear and prayer. Then, faintly at first, a hoarse voice called out, "Sophia." Her heart leapt. She froze. Did he? Jin-woo's eyes fluttered open. Pain laced his expression, but there was life. He reached weakly for her hand. I'm here," he whispered, voice rough, barely audible. "Don't leave me." Sophia threw herself into his arms, sobbing uncontrollably. "I thought I lost you. I thought, God, please don't ever leave me again." Jin-woo held her tightly, every ounce of his strength focused on keeping her close. "I'll never leave you," he rasped. "You're mine, only mine, forever." The beeping of the heart monitor was steady now, echoing like a promise. Outside, the storm had passed. Inside, in that small hospital room, love survived. Sophia rested her forehead against his, letting herself cry, laugh, and breathe all at once. They didn't need words anymore. No threats, no lies, no betrayal. They'd survived the worst. And now nothing could break the bond they'd forged in fire, blood, and passion. Her hand pressed against his chest, feeling his heartbeat strong and steady. She whispered, a mixture of relief and laughter, "You're lucky. I'm not letting you go ever again." He smiled faintly, pain-stricken, but victorious. "I wouldn't dream of it," he murmured. And in that hospital room, amidst the smell of antiseptic and the soft hum of machines, they found their forever. The mansion was quiet. The chaos of the past weeks, the betrayals, the battles, the blood was gone. But the silence was heavy, full of memory. Sophia stood by the large window, gazing at the rain-soaked gardens, her heart still aching from the losses she'd endured. Her father, her brothers, all the people who'd abandoned her, tried to use her, or betrayed her for power. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I can't stop thinking about them," she whispered, voice cracking. Jin-woo stepped behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist, pressing her back against him. "You don't need to," he said softly, lips brushing the top of her head. "But don't mourn the people who didn't deserve you. Don't waste your tears on the wicked." Sophia turned in his arms, resting her forehead against his chest. I guess you're right," she admitted, sniffling, a small smile tugging at her lips. Then, with a mixture of awe and joy, she placed her hands gently on her stomach. "Jin-woo," she said, her voice trembling but bright. I'm pregnant." He froze, eyes widening. Then a slow, dark chuckle escaped him, a mixture of amusement, disbelief, and pure happiness. "She's mine. She's really mine," he murmured, pressing a kiss to her temple, then her lips. Sophia laughed, half crying, half giggling as he lifted her slightly, spinning her around in a playful, protective embrace. "You're insane," she teased, her hands tangling in his hair. "And you are my everything," he whispered, eyes dark, fierce, but soft all at once. He kissed her again, slow, deep, lingering. A kiss that spoke of love, trust, passion, and forever. For the first time, they didn't have to fight. For the first time, they could breathe. For the first time, they could be safe, loved, and free. Sophia grinned, pressing her nose to his chest. "Promise me one thing," she whispered. Jin-woo raised an eyebrow, smirking. "Anything. Don't ever let me go. Even when our kid starts bossing you around." He laughed, a low, dangerous, utterly delighted sound. "You're stuck with me forever, and I plan on enjoying every second of it." They kissed again, this time soft, playful, and endlessly loving. Outside, the rain continued to fall. But inside the mansion, inside their hearts, a new storm of joy, love, and life had begun. And for anyone who doubted them, they were unstoppable together. Want more spicy romance stories? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another dramatic love story. Drop a comment below telling us what you thought about Samantha, Min-wook, and Jin-woo's journey. Should we do a part 2 showing their life a year later? Let us know.